Hello, I'm Dan Conrad, and I have the honor of being the very first principal at Jefferson High School. Jefferson High School will be located in the northwest Sioux Falls corner, and it'll be opening up in the fall of 2021, and it'll be the fourth public high school in the Sioux Falls School District. To help generate the excitement and ease some of the anxiety as a student, a staff member, a community member, as we open a new school, we go back 29 years and we reflect on the opening of Roosevelt High School. And we bring in several staff, students at the time, and community members who went through that change as Roosevelt opened in the fall of 1991. I invite you in to hear their stories, share back as to where you may have been at that time, and think it forward as to what it might look like for Jefferson High School as it opens in the fall of 2021. So thank you for joining us.
In the fall of 1990, I was actually teaching at Washington High School downtown Sioux Falls, and I heard about this new school that was going to get opened up, and frankly it was really close to my house, and that was my first incentive to say I'd kind of like to go there. But I loved it at Washington High School, but just the excitement of this new school really was an alluring thing to me.
I was the activities director, head boys basketball coach at Brandon Valley High School, coming off a very successful boys basketball season, looking forward to another one. And then Roosevelt was being built, and they hired a principal by the name of Dr. Bob Perdames. And Dr. Bob was an acquaintance of mine, and he called me up and asked me if I'd be interested in being the activities director, or athletic director at the time. Told him I'd think about it, and thought about it for a while, and I decided to throw my name into the hat.
It was a year they'd switched over from 7 through 9 middle school, and the year I started, it was 9 through 12, so I was actually never a freshman in high school. So yeah, I started Roosevelt as a sophomore. So I was the third graduating class at Roosevelt.
I was on the school board in 1990, and being I was on the school board, I was intricately involved with the opening of the facility and where it was going to go from there.
I had been in the Sioux Falls School District for 12 years, started at Washington High School downtown, and then was at Lincoln High School for the 8 years after that.
I was a parent of a student at Washington High, and he was going to be able to start his 11th grade year at Roosevelt High School. I was on a parent committee, the PTA it was called at that time, to help get the school started. You know, the different things we did, tours, you know, things like that, kind of getting the school rolling. And while I was doing all of that, there was a job posting on the bulletin board, and it was a 4-hour-a-day job, so I applied for it and got it and started the very first day Roosevelt opened.
My motivation was quite selfishly and quite clearly, I wanted to be a head football coach. So when Roosevelt was about to open, I applied and was very fortunate, thank you to Mark Meile and Bob Perdames, to have a little faith in me. So that was my motivation. But as I stated earlier, I had been in Sioux Falls for 14 years and was thoroughly planning on staying no matter what route or direction I went.
Teaching special education in the resource room at Axtell Park. And I didn't have any connection to Roosevelt at the time, but I just thought it would be kind of fun and cool to open up a new school and have a little bit of a change and meet some new people. And so that's what prompted me to apply for the job.
I was a junior when Roosevelt opened, or going into my junior year.
So we had a decision to make if we could stay at our school that we were at, or we could go to the new school, or whichever district you were in. So there was a few options out there, but my option was either stay at Washington High School or go be the first senior class at Roosevelt.
Sophomore year of school, I went to Washington High, which is now the Washington Pavilion. Had a great time there, and then all of a sudden Roosevelt got built, so I would have been a junior going in there, and so we ended up moving out to Roosevelt. The underclassmen had to go based on where you lived, and I lived probably 4 blocks away, so I absolutely loved it. Didn't have to find parking or anything like that. So yeah, I attended the new school at Roosevelt and as a junior.
As a sophomore, I was at Washington High School downtown, and I was one of the students that would become a junior at the new Roosevelt. And when we moved, the seniors were able to select which school they wanted to go to, if they wanted to stay at Washington downtown or go out to the new Roosevelt. But I was a junior, and so where I lived, I was assigned to Roosevelt High School. I was a junior at the time, and what I remember vividly near or around that time is sitting in a geometry class, and part of it was my first period of the day, and we were asked to take a survey. What was Roosevelt going to be called for a mascot? What was its colors going to be? So we were involved as juniors who were going to be the first senior class in making some of those decisions. Some of which stuck, and some of which may have gotten overridden, as we thought we had some really good ideas for mascots that weren't accepted. So, you know, as we head into the opening of Jefferson now, those decisions have been made for us, and they've been made by students already. So that's kind of a comforting thing that that's done, as exciting as it was at the time.
You know what I remember is how everybody's like, why would they build a school out in the middle of nowhere? And it really was. It was in the middle of nowhere. The west side of Sioux Falls was not developed like it is now. And so I think the excitement was there because we definitely needed a new high school. But I think a lot of it was like, are people actually going to move out there? And well, you know, jump ahead 30 years, and sure enough.
It was pure excitement. He was excited about starting school. We were all excited on the west side to have a school. It was just like a dream. Like, we were all so excited about this and happy that our kids were gonna go to school right here in their own neighborhood. You know, Sertoma was a dirt road at the time. It was the edge of town, but it was just so exciting to have it starting.
I remember walking out there the first football practice, and west of Marion Road was soybeans, and it was just the golf course. And that road was not, I mean, there were no, it was surreal to go out there and have deer grazing next to us on the football field. And you know, that was a memory I'll never forget.
I remember it being emotional. You know, my mom was a Washington Warrior, my aunts were Warriors, my cousins were Warriors. I was a Warrior for 1 year. And I remember that being kind of sad. But I also remember being really exciting to see Roosevelt being built and looking at all the new opportunities that we had at Roosevelt. And there were so many of us moving that were already together. So there was a lot of excitement in that as well. So lots of different emotions.
Just the excitement, students, staff, parents, community, just being excited to have this new, brand new, sparkling school, which it was, and just it was just everybody was all fired up, and it was a first this and a first that, and everything was, you know, a first, and I think that's my fondest memory.
Just the excitement that was building, just amongst our friends, talking about starting new traditions, and you know, being a part of something special, new beginnings. It was exciting times, and you know, once the administrators and teachers were hired, you know, all of us knew a lot of them that were going from, at that time, Washington over to Roosevelt. So once those administrators and teachers were hired, it even made it more special and exciting.
First new school in 25 years, first home football game. You know, there was a bunch of us that got together and decided, look, we need to do something special. New school year. What can we do for these kids to make it a memorable experience? And so we sat down, and one of the guys says, well, you know, I can get skydivers. And I said, well, you know, SDSU has got a cavalry unit up there, and let's see if they can come down, and you know, I can make arrangements for bringing the helicopter in, and et cetera, et cetera. So we sat down, and it gradually grew from 2 of us to about 5 or 6 of us as a core group, and we came up with what we called Roosevelt's First Charge. And we had, just like the President's Bowl or Dakota Bowl, we had fireworks, we had the cavalry that came in, rode the horses in front of the stands with, you know, with all the regalia on. The helicopter came in, the skydivers came in. So we tried to make it as special as we could for the students.
That was probably the best part of the whole thing, is everything was first. I can still remember the first teachers meeting, the first practice. Probably the most memorable activity was the first charge, our first football game. It was the first. And to be able to establish that culture, establish that tradition, there's nothing like it.
To this day, I still remember walking into that building for the first time at Roosevelt, and I won't forget that.
The excitement of the first year, opening up this brand new building, everything is brand new, meeting new people, meeting new students. You know, of course, I did have some students that followed, you know, over there from Axtell Park that I knew already, and some teachers from Axtell that had, you know, gone on to Roosevelt, and some other teachers from some of the other junior highs and schools that in Sioux Falls that I knew. But I think it was just mainly the excitement of meeting new people and having the opportunity to be, you know, be a charter member of this school and being the first of everything.
What I remember was that first year, especially with sports. Girls basketball was in the fall at the time, and we had games in August. And I remember we didn't quite have all of our uniforms. We had maybe the shorts, but not the tops. So we were wearing like mismatched whatnot. They hadn't quite figured out the air conditioning, so the floor was wet, and which was similar to Old Washington in a sense, because ceiling tiles used to fall off and splatter all over the floor. So I mean, you had these things where one building's kind of falling apart, this other building, everybody's still trying to figure out if they're coming or going. I mean, a lot of the teachers and coaches we had from Washington came over, but not all of them. And it was just so much newness of people trying to figure out how you were going to do certain traditions and, you know, new traditions and new ways of doing things, yet also incorporating a lot of things that we did from Washington, since a lot of our students did come from Washington.
A lot of us made a decision. We were following a football coach, was one of the reasons that we were going. We enjoyed Coach DeBoer, and we knew he got the head position there, and that was, if we were in that district, that made it a little easier, you know, to go over there and start at the new school. But some of the other things that came up, girlfriend at the time, she was staying at Washington. I was going over to Roosevelt. Didn't seem to be a big issue because we've been married for 20 plus years now, so that didn't affect us too much there. So it was a branching out type deal. It was an opportunity to start something new, and the friendships didn't go away just because we switched schools. And the neat thing about it, come our 10-year reunion, we actually made the reunion together. So it's a Washington Roosevelt reunion, and I could see that happening down the road with these two schools. The 20-year reunion came, we paired up again and did it together. So we were still one class at two schools in a great city.
Just starting all the new traditions. You know, Washington had all of their traditions. Roosevelt was a new school. You know, playing that first football game against the Mitchell Colonels. That was probably one of the most memorable ones. We ended up winning. Huge deal, you know, new teammates and a lot of the same old teammates as well, and had a great time. You know, some of the other ones were even playing Washington for the first time after we split up. It was fun playing with those old classmates I had, and competing with them, and actually trying to knock them down and knock them out. You know, it was great.
As I go through the school system and go through the time, and my time as a teacher, as my time as a principal, as a student, as a Sioux Falls community member, the thing that's been more ingrained is the Sioux Falls community loves their schools. If you're a Washington kid, you love Washington. If you're Roosevelt, you love Roosevelt. If you're Lincoln, you love Lincoln. And we believe that same thing's going to happen with the new school, as anxious as the times are, and the unknown and the uncertainty. But I remember a lot of excitement about the firsts, and about being able to establish what that tradition would look like. For a lot of us was a core group of friends, and the core group of friends going to the new school together was a pretty cool deal. As we started all those things, whether it was the activity we were involved with, whether it was the classes we were taking, whether we had certain teachers were moving to Roosevelt and we had been lining up for 3 years to take that particular teacher's class, and now we had to figure out what did that look like. And so you remember some of those pieces. As a senior at Roosevelt, you probably didn't realize exactly how big of a deal it is to open up a school, and that it just doesn't happen every day, that it happens about once every 30 or so years. It tends to be the trend here recently. And you reflect back on it, you say, geez, that was kind of a cool deal to be a part of.
You know, just being a part of something and being a part of the first of it is really exciting, and it's scary all at the same time because you're leaving your friends that you had and what you knew, but there are so many things that are so neat to come along with being the first. To be the first students that walked in Roosevelt High School is something that I will never forget as a student and as an adult. Being at the first football game, being at the first homecoming, you know, they still have some of the pictures of the senior classes hanging in the hallways, and it's kind of exciting to walk in there as an adult and see that here you are. I was the second graduating class, but there you are as part of those first traditions that are created as a school community. One of the things that I distinctly remember and still think about to this day, and this happened when I was a senior, we were in ecology class, and at that time there was limited trees out in that area because they just put up this new school. And so our ecology class was able to research different trees, and my lab partner and I planted one of the evergreen trees, and it's still there, and I still remember which evergreen tree. We researched, we dug the hole, we made sure we watered it, we took care of it, so it's kind of fun to see how big it's gotten in the last I don't know, 25 years? Is that, no, more than that. I've been out of school longer than that. I
have no regrets. I mean, like I said, Washington still has a really dear place in my heart, even though they built a new school and moved out east. But Washington has a really, really tight spot in my heart. But I don't have any regrets at all. It was exciting to start a new school and to kind of take a leadership role in getting some things rolling with their science department. There's no doubt
fear of the unknown, the thought of change. And, you know, there are many, you know, freshmen, sophomore students that are currently at Roosevelt that will be making the move over to the new school. And I think it's our responsibility as a parent to communicate to our children that change is a part of life. And it's okay. It's okay to have uncertainty or fear of the unknown or what it's going to look like. But I'm excited over the next 9 months as the school continues to build and that momentum continues to build for the new school, what that's going to look like. I know our son had those same apprehensions, those same fears that I'm sure many students and many parents have had over the last 9 months or a year, because they've been a part of the Roosevelt culture, and it's been a great culture for so many years. But on the flip side, we have a great opportunity to transition over to a new school and creating that welcoming culture to Jefferson High School.
If I was 20 years younger, I'd do it again. It was that much fun, and to be able to be a part of that first, I can't explain it. It's just so much fun and so unique. Like I said, if I was 20 years younger, I'd do it again. If you don't take this opportunity to be a part of the new something, new Jefferson High, I think you're making a big mistake, because it's a unique opportunity that not everybody's going to get, not everybody's going to have.
Just make it the best. These are 4 of the very best years of a student, and the memories stay with you forever. Being a part of something, whether it's fine arts, sports, you know, debate, anything, just being a part of something makes a huge difference in that, you know, that you get involved and get to know that school a little bit more in whatever capacity that you want. But being involved is the best part for the whole family. It's a good way to meet new people, new families, and just take that pride in your school that needs to be there.
The experience of doing something new is something we'll never forget, and they won't forget. They'll get over it very quickly because they'll become the new Jefferson, and they'll be fine. But I think it's just initially knowing that it's going to be okay, and you don't need to worry about it. There's going to be great teachers there. You're going to get a great education. What's really fun is you get a new experience to start something new, because you're always going to be the first graduating class. That's what I would tell those kids that are going to go over there as seniors. You're always going to be that first graduating class, and that picture is always going to be there. It will be a great experience. There's nothing like it. Being first, being the first, is going to be wonderful for those people.
1991, and that's the last time there's been a new high school, and I'm pretty sure Sioux Falls is double the size. And Roosevelt's a great place. I've been there as a staff member too. I mean, even with kids packed in there, it's still a great place, but at the same time, it can't continue. I mean, we really do need a new school, and so if this is hard for some people with the moves, you know, it's just give it a chance.
I hope they embrace it, I really do. I hope the kids embrace it, I hope the parents embrace it, I hope the teachers and staff embrace it, because they're the ones that are going to set things going forward for the next 25 years. One tradition I can think of is a football-related deal. One of the coaches come up with a saying, team pride, trust. We bought into it that first year and it kept going, and they're still doing it to this day. You'll see TPT on a lot of their uniforms and helmets and things like that. And I have second graders yelling team pride, trust when they're breaking down their huddles at junior football, and that's continued on. So there's things that these kids can start that first year, and they come a parent of 4 kids later and their kids are going to that school and they're still doing it. It's pretty impressive. If
it's currently offered at a high school in Sioux Falls, it's going to be offered at Jefferson High School. And that's what the Sioux Falls School District has worked really hard on, is having a standard of facilities and making sure that that standard, regardless of where you attend school, you're going to get a very similar experience. And that standard of facilities stretches over to a standard of curriculum and instruction. Regardless of where you attend, you're going to receive a standard of curriculum and instruction. And I guarantee you'll talk to any teacher in any facility and they're going to believe they do it better than anybody else. And that's going to be the Jefferson way as well. We're going to believe we do it better than anybody else as well.
Embrace the opportunity that you have. You know, change is scary, but change also brings opportunities that you don't even know exist right now until you get here. And you're going to be able to set things in motion, like I said before, where you could lay a mark down here that is still going on 25, 30 years from now. And that's an opportunity that's pretty exciting, you know, for anybody, you know, that you can come back 25 years later and said, I started that.
Open heart, open mind, and it's all about those relationships that you're going to build.
Sioux Falls is filled with great people who truly have the best interests of students, the best interests of staff in mind with the decisions that are made. And give us an opportunity to earn that trust. We know we're going to work really hard at providing an environment academically and through activities to provide a complete experience for all students. It'll be an inclusive experience, as you would see throughout the city. And the excitement is you still look back on it, even though it's 29 years ago, and you look back and go, yeah, that was kind of cool, we were the first one. And it's a cool story, as now you see people I went to school with, where it's our kids who are now confronted with the same decision we had roughly 30 years ago about, do I stay or do I go? And will I have a choice? Know that regardless of the choice you make, the school you choose to attend is going to take great care of you and provide you a great experience like none other in the area. And that's the beauty of being a Sioux Falls School District kid. And we also believe at Jefferson High School, we're going to work really hard as a faculty, as a community, to make sure if you're a student attending Jefferson High School, you're going to have access, some of the best access to education and activities around. And it's going to be an inclusive access.